NFR.
NFR Extra is a podcast dedicated to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo and features icons and personalities that embody the Western lifestyle.
I made the NFR in 19, but there's at least especially in the bull riding, like there's a difference between making the NFR and being in the contention for a world title race. And it happens to the the world champion. Sometimes you just sometimes the bull just wins.
Yeah.
But the steer wrestling deal, I've had a similar story. Well, I do good on my 2 in the slack, make it back to the perf. And this was when I was dating Erica. She's up there with one of her friends, and I come out with the rodeo and I get drug around for 45 seconds again, and Erica's friend goes, so does he just enter this for fun sometimes? And I'm like, I actually qualified to even get here.
Hey everybody, this is Steve Godert, and you're listening to the NFR Extra.
So we are joined for another roundtable discussion with J.D. Struxness, Dean Thompson, and Josh Frost. And the awesome part about this is we have 3 brand new world champions.
Yeah, boys.
That's right.
Now, I wanna hear a little bit about that moment leading up to that gold buckle. So I want to hear each round 10 story. And since bareback riding's first in the competition, let's start with Dean.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was wild. I mean, the entire NFR, of course, you're walking in there and you're wanting to win first, obviously. But round 10 for me, it seemed like nobody had really been referencing my name a lot, I guess is a nice way to put it.
No one had said your name.
Not once. I mean, I think in round 5, they had to say it. I won the round. Round 8, maybe they mentioned it again. Anyway. No, but I wasn't really in the discussion for a world title. I think that a lot of guys had, started to really consider me as a really great bareback rider. Making it there 2 times in a row, obviously, is no small feat. Like, Josh and I were actually talking today about, you used to think about your first NFR, like, it's so crazy to think about how much respect you had for those guys, because making your first NFR is so hard. Anyway, what I'm getting at is I probably was ranked when the whole deal started. I was probably ranked to be, I had a terrible first NFR, so that probably weighed on my rankings. I was going in there 4th. I imagine people thought I was going to be somewhere between 5th and 10th, Anyway, great NFR, went in there so headstrong, just got married, had a great support system. Family was all on my side. Closest friends in the world, a lot of them outside the rodeo business anyway, so they were 100% all for it. Round 10 came around. I had straight stick. Horse reared out of the chutes. I grabbed him, and he had such a long rear out that I actually reached up and re-grabbed him, and one of the judges tossed a re-ride flag after he smashed me. So one of my best friends in the world told me afterwards, he was up there. It was at Jacob Lee's. He was up there on the back chute screaming at the judge, free roll, because the back judge had actually tossed the flag, said, gave me the free roll. And so Jake was screaming at the field judge, free roll, free roll, free roll. Anyway, got my free roll. Under further review, got the mark out anyway. Super wild ride, was 89 points. And then it just felt like, the way I describe it is, it felt like after 10 days I'd been playing a long game of poker, and I was ready to just lay my cards down, and I knew I had 4 aces. I maybe made a mistake or 2. I didn't have a royal flush. I didn't win every round, but I had 4 aces. So if you guys can beat that, good luck. And I laid them on the table, and when I won the average, I knew it was coming my way. And then, of course, you go win the world. What else are you gonna do but have literally the most? It's a thing that every one of us sitting at this table have dreamed about for our entire life. So it was euphoria for sure.
JD?
Yeah, no, just like Dean said there, we've all have worked so hard to get to the NFR, and mine took me a couple more years than him, but just the situations that have played out throughout my career in Vegas. Out here, I had a couple times where we were maybe sneaking in for a chance, but then everything didn't come together in the end and whatnot. And then this year coming out missing that first steer, right off the bat. The support system around me, everybody picked me back up and reminded me how much money was out there to win. And then it was just hammer time after that. Every night we went in and just were hammering away because never really, I picked up, got to pluck out a couple decent steers throughout the week, but I was never just on the real good end of them all week long. We just hammered and hammered away at them. And then finally, round 10 rolls around and we'd done all the figures up, what we needed to do and whatever. And we knew going into round 10 we needed to win first or second to even have a chance to be in the conversation for the title. And so I'm like, well, I kind of had 3 steers picked that I was like, I can do it on these ones. And sure enough, I drew one of those ones, and I was like, finally turning our way. And it was just one of those days walking around that day. I just knew it was going to be a good day, walking around with a lot of confidence because we just hammered on these steers all week. And, we were running bad ones and placing on bad ones. So it's just, one of them feelings, as long as they give me a good one, they can't stop me. And, going into that round and watching it unfold, the guys that were doing their stuff in the average, like Cash Raw put pressure on them early in the average there. So then those average guys were kind of trying to decipher and figure out what they need to do around. And then some guys had backed off just trying to conserve their money. And then the one who really made it hard on me was Jesse Brown went out and he was 3-4. And being 3-4 on that herd of steers was hard. They really ran. So we just backed in the corner and, so much confidence in the horses, so much confidence in my hazer that night, and so much confidence in my bulldog in that week that it was just another night backed in there. Everything was locked in. I was locked in and, not even thinking about it at all during it, and went out and 3-6, was winning second in the round and went back, just one more guy to watch and wait and see what I had to watch and wait, see what he did to watch it unfold. And, for it to come down to that last round like that and back in the corner and need to do that and be able to get it done, that's a unreal moment after going out in the first round, having to hammer back all week and then come back and get back in the corner 10th round and have to come out and execute and be able to do it for your first world title, just a really exciting way and honestly no better way to do it for your first one.
Josh?
That's I wouldn't say my story's quite as cool as JD. You always dream of riding the 10th bull to win the world, and I was kind of similar to him also in the fact that I guess similar to both of them. I was like Dean. I had the first NFR, bucked off all 10 bulls, borderline worst 10 days of my life, and then we roll back in 2021, and coming into the 10th round, there was a scenario with ground money that. If I win the round, a couple guys don't fall off, I was going to end up being the world champion and had to ride that bull to win the average and have a shot at win the world. I end up riding that bull. Sage comes out after me, ball was in his court. He stayed on his bull. He ended up winning the world that year, but was kind of in a high pressure situation there. Ride this bull, win the world, get it done that year. Reserve world champion. 2 more years after that, I end up the reserve world champion. Had great NFRs, just was coming up short of winning the world. And so I was rolling into this one, kind of had a different year than normal, fought a lot of injuries, had a pretty good lead in the world rolling into August and tearing my shoulder really bad. And at that point, I think I was winning the world by like 40,000. And I knew with the shoulder, like 40,000 isn't nothing in Vegas. And so I was like, I can go out here and try to fight this shoulder, try to keep the lead, but I'm not going to win another 100,000 where, you got $140,000 cushion in Vegas. Like it helps, but I knew that wasn't going to be realistic. So I quit entering in the middle of August there. I knew I was going to get passed, but I knew they weren't going to be able to pass me by it was going to be 30, 40,000, which is one bull in Vegas. And it was going to come down to who rode the best in Vegas was going to be the world champ. And so I went to work doing everything I could to get the shoulder as solid as possible to get through 10 in Vegas. And, said game plan was on, nailed it in Vegas. I think I rode rode 7 out of 8, rolling into the 9th round. I got hung up in the 8th round, or got a reride in the 8th round, and I rode my 8th round bull, got hung up when I got off of him, dislocated the shoulder a little there, and then rolling into the 9th round, I knew that if I'd kind of ran the math, and when I was up in the 9th round, I'd already won the average, but I knew if I could just get a little bit, any day money, I was going to have the world won.
Mm-hmm.
First bull falls down, get a reride, and the reride bull bucks me off at 7 seconds. Well, Cowboy Channel forgets about the ground money, so they pull me over and they announce me as the world champion. So live television, they announce me as the world champion, and I'm like, right before Janie interviews me, she's like, "Do you know why I'm interviewing you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I won the average." And she goes, "You won the average? They just told me you won the world." And at that point, I'm like, kind of like, man, I'm pretty sure there's a real weird way that I don't win the world. So she's congratulating me, and I'm almost kind of thinking I've won the world. And then I get back to the locker room and get back up with my parents, and we're running the math. And it was definitely, because like I said, it's not unrealistic in bull riding for only one bull rider to stay on. And there was a scenario if TJ Gray or TJ Gray or Cooper James, if either one of them were the only guys to stay on in the 10th round, they would have passed me by about $3,000, even with me winning the average. And so that added a whole new level of pressure on there, because now I had everybody and their dog messaging me, calling me there, and like, how do you tell everyone? Well, actually, there is this weird scenario that the Cowboy Channel messed up. So I literally just shut the phone off and roll in there to the 10th round. And like I said, I was locked in as 100% focused, dang sure when as soon as Hayes' weight stayed on, I knew I won the world. And I ended up getting that 10th round bull I had was the bull of the year in Canada. I don't think they'd ever rode him. He's big, strong Canadian bucker. And I was putting it all over him. Bull had never switched directions. And when he jumped ahead, he pulled me to my fingertips, and I made the direction change. But 7 seconds, my hand popped out. Bucked me off, but like I said, it was
sure.
And I got that question a lot after that, like, has it sank in, or and what'd you? And I was like, oh yeah, after winning second 3 years in a row, and I hit the ground, I was like, I didn't even care. I bucked off. I was like, I was happy for Hayes. He just won 95,000 or 108,000 or whatever it was, but I was that gold buckle was a long time coming.
All right, so obviously you all got a bunch of messages and stuff. Who was the first person you called?
Oh, I think the first person that I texted was my wife up in the stands, and they weren't really sure up there either yet, because the bull logging came down so tight with the $1,500 split. It came down so tight that nobody really knew. I think Cowboy Channel maybe finally said something at the beginning of the bronc riding, who they finally clarified it as. But yeah, I texted my wife first after I'd found out, and got back to my phone and texted her, and they still didn't know in the stands. So that was, pretty exciting to be able to get to share that news with her and have them not really know. They had a good idea, but they didn't know for sure. And I can't even remember who the first phone call was.
Yeah, I think the only person I could think of, because I knew as soon as my family knew, so it wasn't my wife, it wasn't my family. We all knew together. Probably Hester Murdoch, one of my childhood best friends. I mean, he probably wasn't even watching the rodeo. But I was like, man, I just won the world. You believe it? Of course, he's jacked up for me. But yeah, everyone else, I mean, I spent the last week with everybody else that was really there, and they were all in the business with me. Obviously, I celebrated with my wife and my brothers that night for sure.
And I was about the same. I can't remember who I called. It would have been, like I said, I had everybody there, everybody in my family group. Like, not that they're not Hayes Waite fans, but there's never been the Frost family cheering louder for Hayes Waite
Sure.
with the whistle. But like I said, I had probably maybe Robert Atbauer or Wade Wilson, who I had several mentors that weren't there, that were following along really close, that helped me a bunch along the way. I mean, you get back to the locker room and you had 1,000 texts already, and missed phone calls. But like I said, having, older brother, younger brother family, they were all right there. And as they zip you away pretty quick after you get done. You don't even have a chance to look at your phone for about an hour. So,
well, Dean's just a touch younger than JD and Josh, but there has to be a point where you wake up one day and go, I can beat these guys. I can compete with these people, and I can do this. Is there a specific moment that any of you remember where you go, hey, I mean, because I think it happens for everybody, right? I mean, whether you're holding a microphone or whatever it is, if you don't believe it, it's not going to happen, right? So there has to be a moment where you go, I've got this. I've got what it takes to do it.
Mine's pretty clear. Just, even it wasn't even necessarily. I made the NFR in 19, but there's at least especially in the bull riding, like there's a difference between making the NFR and being in the contention for a world title race. And I was just good enough to make the NFR, but nobody was ever saying Josh Frost was in a world title race. And I was saying it, but I didn't necessarily believe it. But in 2020, I'd had a pretty rough year when the year had started out. I got hurt pretty bad. First, COVID hits, rodeo start back June and July. I think I stayed on like 3 bulls out of 30. I mean, it was going rough, but I was just plucking away at them. And for some reason, Sykeston, Missouri hits in August, and I was 98th in the world. And from August 3rd to September 30th, I went from 98th to 17th. Ended up just short of making the NFR, but that was the first time in my career I was 2 months there. I rode 65-70% of my bulls.
Wow.
I just remember looking at that thinking like, hey, like Sage rides 65% of his bulls.
Yeah.
My brother used to ride 65%, but like I was a 30%, 40%. And that was when it really flipped. Like, hey, if I can do it for 2 months, I can do it for a whole season. And I've been a 55-60% bull rider ever since then. But that was when I'm going to be the world champion really sank in. I was like, I can do this.
Yeah, Josh's story is so crazy. Josh and I are like 45 minutes down the road from each other, and oh my gosh, Josh's story about making the finals, having a crap year, and then not making it the next year because you got hurt. That was the next year you got hurt, right? Yep. And then the next year, you won the average, Oh my gosh. That's one that's fueled me forever. But for me, I mean, it's always been, it's as crazy as it sounds, but it's like the first rodeo that you beat one of those big dogs. They could have the worst horse in the world and you could have the best horse in the world, and you could have made the worst spur ride and they could have made the best. But if you're 76 points and they're 75 points, it seems like immediately you're like, oh, I can do this, and it's 19-year-old kid just thinking crazy. But I mean, 19-year-old kid thinking crazy is what, if you stick to it for long enough, that's what leads you down this path. It always seems to be the case. I think for me, it was probably beating Casey somewhere that, wasn't a big deal to him at all. I mean, I get beat all the time by young guys right now, and I never think a lick about it. I'll shoot. Great bareback ride, man. That's that great bareback ride. I'll walk up and make sure and tell them, but the confidence you get from that as a young kid, it's kind of a strange phenomenon for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like Dean said, when you first step out and especially for me being from Minnesota, I mean, we don't have very many big names come out of Minnesota in the rodeo world at all. So when I got down there in Oklahoma with Stockton and stuff, and he took me out there on the road the first time, and you're starting to be able to compete and keep up with all the names you've been watching on TV for years. That was a huge first step, and then I think the next step and the step that really sealed it for my career is after I made my first NFR in 16. Bulldogging, not very many make it that young, and so the first year I was out there, I was still I knew I belonged there, but I was still kind of unsure if I was there to compete with those, with those guys yet. On that level, I was like, I chipped away. I had a good year and whatever, but am I really supposed to be here yet? That thought was always just there on that first one still. But it came out here that first year, and I had a great rookie NFR. I won 4 go-rounds and a bunch of money out here that first year. So then,
how would it be, Josh? How would it be?
I wouldn't know. I didn't even know they gave money away.
No, you got the Benny Binion bonus. Yeah. So, right, you're going to get a check just for making the finals.
You guys are getting paid?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, down at the timed event and in your rookie year, they usually give you a lot of money away. So then, after that first year, then realizing compete out here, compete with all these guys, and that was a big stepping stone into that the childhood dream of world champion. We were really going to pursue that all the way to the end.
Let's take a quick pause, and we'll be right back.
Las Vegas becomes the center of the Western universe every December with the return of the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. And, of course, Cowboy Christmas presented by Pro Fantasy Rodeo. It's the perfect way to spend your day with family and friends. There's endless shopping, entertainment on the Ariat Rodeo live stage, the Yeti Junior NFR, contestant autograph sessions, and all-day fun. There's so much and more in Las Vegas. Cowboy Christmas, presented by Pro Fantasy Rodeo. It's all here. All right, so Dean can't answer this question because he's not in the grand entry. What do you guys talk about, like, once you get to your spot in the grand entry? Because, I mean, there have been some guys that are, like, joking and laughing. Like, are you looking at family members or what? Like, when you get set, when they call your town out and you get set and you're standing next to somebody, like, what are you talking about?
It's pretty laid back, usually joking about the wreck that almost happened the night before, and we all, like, the grand entry's it's borderline dangerous. Like, it's a shot in the dark of what type of grand entry horse you're going to have. Steer wrestlers, do you ride your own?
Some of them bring their own, but we go. Most of us, it's just pretty much still shot in the dark, whether we bring our own or we get on the horses they bring us. So,
like I said, I've done it 5 times, and I've had maybe 3
wrecks.
good ones, and I've had, like, my horse this year I was scared every night. And it's a stampede. Utah's in the middle, so it's where you're supposed to be going 2 at a time, and old Pumpkin or whatever his name was, he was the tip of your resistol, and we were rearing straight in the air, and it's
Idaho Silver.
Yep, and then it's a close your eyes because there's dirt clods flying at you, and it's an experience.
I've got a buddy of mine who used to ride bareback horses, and but he got bucked off a team roping horse named Cupcake one time. So that's why we always joke, it was Copenhagen Cupcake that got the best of him.
Yeah, I don't know where they find them grand entry horses, but I think they just maybe live for the grand entry, and that's the only time of year I don't know.
They go straight to pasture and then crack them back out in 11 months.
I was announcing a rodeo one time, and the guy gave me the horse. He goes, "Just go to him." I said, "Whoa, hold on. I'm a rodeo announcer. My go to him days are over." Okay, like no,
just go to him now. One rein stop him. One mic from the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
I had one year that was being bad, and so the guy was like, "Hey, would you like me to ace him?" I'm like, "Yes, please. That would help. And so 3 nights in a row, this horse is great. I think it was like the 8th round. He's going crazy again and scary, running off, and he gets back and he goes, "How was he?" And I said, "You didn't ace him, did you?" And he just starts laughing. I'm like, "Please ace him."
And I've always ended up with pretty okay ones. I mean, they're not all that great, but they're not near the stories. But it is the most nervous you probably get in that arena is going in for the grand entry because you don't know what else is coming at you.
Well, yeah, that's you're watching the other people, and the thing that freaks me out is I ride horses all the time. Most of the bull riders do not ride horses all the time.
Yeah.
So
if you're getting nervous, it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then ironically enough, I stand right next to Will Loomis during the grand entry. So we have our nightly talks going down the alley, talking about what steers we got and this and that, and then usually we just slap hands and roll on, and then ironically enough, rolling into the 10th round, it's me, him, and Dakota are the real contenders in the race, and me and him riding down the alley, same as every other night. We ride down the alley, ask each other what we got, and slap hands. Let's get it on and ride to the other end. There we go.
Well, see, and I'm interested in that, JD, because you guys, money-wise, are usually the tightest competition, from top to bottom. It is possible for other events for somebody to leapfrog from 15th, but the spread in the steer wrestling is so tight compared to bull riding, and some of these other events where there's big swings, and that, so you guys, you've been battling all year long over literal hundreds of dollars, not even thousands.
Yeah, no, it always stays tight in the bull logging, and I think a huge part of that is it depends on horses you ride and steers you draw, because there's no ground, and we can only make up, us big guys or top guys can only make up maybe half a second on a steer by the time our feet hit the ground. So there's no reaching with your rope or making up a bunch of time that way. So it depends a lot on what steer you draw and what horses you're riding, how fast you can get your feet on the ground, and then throwing them down. I mean, there's real no advantages to it as far as reaching or being able to make up some time other ways. So I think that's why we stay so tight throughout the year. And then even when you get out here, I mean, you're going to bring the best horses, you got the best guys, and we go through and pick all the steers and try and pick them as even as you can. So everybody's going to have their night and, come on the better end of the steers or the worst end of the steers. So it's going to keep shuffling it around all week long.
Dean, have you been peeking on Josh's test for how to win the Linderman?
Yeah. I've been eyeballing it. Watch it.
A fun note, I used to beat JD at some of the college rodeos.
Side note.
Side note just
there.
Usually in the calf rope.
Y'all are just lucky
I got a couple steer wrestling buckles.
You did get a few steer wrestling ones. Those were probably mostly when Edler ran me over.
I think it was actually my sophomore year. They had a little fast handling set of steers that they took them to all the spring rodeos. And I won Fort Scott, second at Garden City, and then I was second at Hayes. I'm sitting fourth in the region going into Guyman, about to qualify, literally be in the top three. And we got Jacob Edler, JD Struxness,
right,
Mike McGinn. These are full-grown men steer wrestlers, and I'm a 150-pound bull rider. And our last college rodeos, Panhandle State, Robert calls me. He says, "Hey, do you want me to get those same steers, or should I get Jace Honeys that they're going to have at the pro rodeo?" I said, "Get the same set of steers." He gets Jace Honey's set of steers. I made the whistle in the steer wrestling.
Packed down the end.
Yeah, I caught him, and 60 seconds later, I was still dragging around.
All right, that's a perfect question. So, what's worse, getting bucked off before 2 seconds, or getting packed to the other end of the arena?
Getting packed around. It's because it happens to the the world champion. Sometimes you just sometimes the bull just wins.
Yeah.
But the steer wrestling deal, I've had that similar story. Guyman's Pro Rodeo, you run 2 in the slack, and then the top 45 come back to the perfs. Well, I do good on my 2 in the slack, make it back to the perf, and this was when I was dating Erica. She's up there with one of her friends, and I come out at the rodeo, and I get drug around for 45 seconds again, and Erica's friend goes, "So does he just enter this for fun sometimes?" And I'm like, "I actually qualified to even get here. I just threw 3 down in 10 seconds, 2 down in 10 seconds." But yeah, the you kind of hit on where when you said the bigger guys, you meant the bigger name guys. But being a bigger guy does help in the steer wrestling.
Doesn't hurt.
I think it was Matt Merritt at Santa Maria last year. I'd entered the steer wrestling, and after I said I was out there for 45 seconds getting drug around, and I'm getting up walking. He goes, "This guy kind of walks like my grandma does when she heads to the car to get a pack of cigarettes."
That 45 seconds will wear you out.
Oh yeah.
But the crowd sure cheers loud.
Yeah,
when you're getting drug around.
they do.
Oh man, it doesn't even matter if that whistle goes off in the bulldog and they're just on your side. I think that sometimes the sound waves help push them over.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't quit if they're cheering. So
no, you can't.
Yeah.
That's the worst part.
If they just get quiet or boo you, letting go wouldn't be so bad. But
you really want to let go, but
cheering,
the crowd's cheering. You're like, all right, I'm committed at this point.
So is that your best shot, Dean? Is steer wrestling?
Dean is a great bull rider. Great bull rider.
Hey.
Yep. He's got on many bulls at my house.
I have, yeah. Josh made sure and show all the boys his favorite video of me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. When I was,
we get this new bull, practice bull, and of course, none of us are home. My little brother, Jay, instead of just getting on the practice bull, he's like, "I think I'm going to test it out with Dean."
No. Jay knew what it was. This wasn't a test. Jay was
he thought you were that good.
Well, he thought wrong. All right. Yeah. So Jay thinks, well, in my mind, I think looking back, Jay thinks, well, I don't really know if I want to get on him just yet, but Dean's coming over, and
It'll be fun to watch Dean get on.
yeah, that's right. It'd be fun to watch Dean get on. That Jay always used to say, and Shane is, always a joke, but half joke. They'd say, well, that was good for that bull. He needed some confidence. he really needed some confidence. And so they put me on Tiger King, awesome, striped bull, goes out there, bucks hard,
Big
jumps
ol'
and
horns.
kicks. Oh, coolest bull, cousin to that big bad dog that Lane rode a couple times.
Mr. T.
The other one. And anyway, so Jake's scared to death of him. Because Jake claims that he's the bull that, Lane got on and had his accident on. And he says they're related, all this. It ended up not being.
I think Jake was just best with Dean.
No. Jake
He believed
dead serious believed
it,
this.
yeah.
He dead serious believed this. We're talking like 0.5 seconds. This bull bucked hard though. And I rode a lot of bulls. Like, this is no joke.
Dean really was a good bull rider.
Yeah, that's steer wrestling's probably my best option for the Linderman for sure. Team roping's another good event, and it's not going to be long. You'll see my name entered in probably 4. There's some really good rodeos that have really good bulls that jump out there, spin either way, not going to completely dismantle me. So, anyway. No, you'll probably see me enter in 4 events, and I'd love to give a Josh run for his Linderman award. Like they said, Josh been racking up the Linderman for 4 or 5 years, and it's a shock because why are not more guys going for the coolest award in pro rodeo? Don't you think, Josh?
It is the coolest, but I do know why, because it is a way harder than you think.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, what's the deal with that? You got to go to 10 rodeos?
You don't even have to go to it. That you just have to win 1,000 in 3 different events.
In 3 events?
3.
Yeah, 3 events.
Oh, I thought it was 2. I thought it was just
just other ends of the
No, it's 3, but it has to be split ends. You have to have 1 rough stock, 2 timed events, or 2 timed events, 1 rough stock.
So would you rather beat Josh in the steer wrestling or the bull riding? Just at one rodeo, at a single event.
At one rodeo?
At one rodeo. Which one's gonna
probably if we're being completely straight here, probably the steer wrestling, just because I got nothing to prove with Josh and the bull riding.
Yeah, okay.
It's not,
Fair enough.
if I can beat him in the steer wrestling at least, then that's 2 out of 3.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Then I got him in the bareback and the steer wrestling. The bull
You haven't
riding.
seen me ride bareback. I made the short round at Shawnee.
That's where them dogs are at.
That was a few years
Shout
ago.
out 16-year-old.
Yeah. And I got knocked out in the short round, and I've never been on another bareback since.
Oh. Well, gentlemen, this was a blast. Thank you so much for joining us, and we can't wait to see you back inside the Thomas and Mack.
Yeah,
Thank you.
likewise.
Thanks for having us.
Want to experience more of the NFR? Then visit nfrexperience.com, and we invite you to subscribe to NFR Extra on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you're listening right now. If you like what you've heard on NFR Extra, we would love it if you gave us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe.